right, next on deck, Metro Legend Award, which we give to great coaches of all kinds, high school, professional, college, whatever. Jim Prahlow, it's your turn.
I'd like to welcome Jim Prahlow, one of the top track and field coaches in the state. Very distinguished career at Lutheran North. Many state championships, many all-state, all-American athletes. But I was reading the bio there, humble beginnings though. You said the first couple years, really no facility in terms of, you had the kids at McDonald's had to use the jump in the dirt at McDonald's and dodging between cars. So as a young coach, that kind of shows you have to make do with what you have, don't you?
Yes, it's really a pleasure to walk out there on the track now, and you don't have to paint marks on the parking lot or have kids throwing over cars, anything like that. When they're running, they have sure footing rather than having to look out for potholes or anything else. As some of the athletes in here would ascertain, they don't have to do all those running drills for 35, 40 minutes at a time, because that would sometimes be our workout without any other facility to use. So it's fun to have an actual jumping pit. I think Jana would agree to have that pit. Connie did a great job without one, and Jana did too. So that was a lot of fun to watch.
Now you were before you came to St. Louis, you were in Orlando, Florida, very successful. Now obviously a track and field coach coming from Florida to Missouri, especially in the springtime. Florida weather, so obviously you never have to worry about bad weather during track season. But St. Louis, what's the adjustment knowing that whether you're going to have a meet or not, because the St. Louis weather, of course, is beautiful.
In Florida, our season began January 15th, and our first meet was usually around the first weekend of February. And my first practice up here, after Paul Chrysler got me up here and Ed Wrights got me up here, we had snow. I didn't really know what to do. It was about 35 degrees outside, and we just started to warm up, and the kids were pretty hardy. That was a lot of fun to see. So I like to think that the kids up here in the Midwest are tougher because of the elements that they have to deal with and things. And Steve Termenstein and Dave McAllister, Derek Spears, those guys really do a nice job with kids, keeping them. We had a rather interesting spring this year. In fact, there may not have been a spring this year. And I still remember in late April, it was 35 degrees outside when we got up, and the kids have to learn how to deal with those elements that you don't always have to down in Florida. So but it's great to run on that track out there.
So successful, and we talked about all the champions, state champions. You did a three-peat in the late 90s. What goes into building that kind of success and that culture from starting off to where you are now and all that success you had? What some of the things were key?
Well, a lot of it goes to, I think, the families who support the program with their kids. The kids are self-starters. They're usually really good students in the classroom. And they have some goals, like Tim said before, the high goals that they've got to attain, and they want to reach and use the talents that God gave them for the team and for each other, but they really want to attain that for themselves too, because they want to reach and fulfill what they can, and they learn to play a role, and they learn to mature in that, and they learn that some of those life lessons can be applied later on. And for me as a coach, it's really a joy to see them as they go off into the business world or into the world of education, or they continue to go on coaching. And I think that, you know, the lessons that I learned from my dad and from one of my coaches at the other high school, I'm sorry, I'm a Lutheran South grad, 72.
High school South.
But the lessons that the kids learn, I think, and apply those in the business world are really, really what for me is a great joy to see Tony Irons and Jana here and these other athletes.
To see your athletes reach the pinnacle and win a state championship once is one thing, but to see it 3 times in a row as a coach, what was that like for you in Jefferson City at Reed Stadium to see your athletes standing on that podium 3 years in a row as state champions?
I think the kids learn that it's not about the end, it's the joy in the journey. Barry Terrace used to say that all the time. You got to take joy in the journey, because if you don't, and all you're focused on is the end product, it's not a whole lot of fun. And I think that the kids learn to appreciate those different experiences they have, even the bad ones, because it helps them grow and understand that if you're not at your best and you can still work through it, maybe a second place is the best you can do on that day, or a third place, but you still appreciate the fact that you've used those talents in that context.
And finally, to see a former athlete of yours or from the school reach the Olympics and that highest level in track and field as a former coach, what is that like to see Connie on TV doing that, accomplishing it?
Linda and I were down in Atlanta.
Not
for the Olympics, but for the trials.
The trial.
We couldn't get tickets for the Olympics. And our three boys were running around in the stadium down there, Olympic Stadium, which I guess no longer exists. And we were thrilled because we were going to see a Lutheran North graduate compete. And we got to watch her compete and qualify for the finals. And we yelled at her that we were from Lutheran North, and she waved. She had no idea who we were. But I do remember her father there, standing there and looking at us, wondering who we were, and thanking us for having recognized her. But that was a tremendous thrill to see a Lutheran North grad out there. And of course, Linda, who, I'm sorry, she's a Dolphins fan, as am I. It came with the marriage. We became quick Denver Broncos fans for a period of time when Steve Atwater was playing, and as we found out of the Lutheran North grads, we sort of switched our loyalty to them too. But all of those things, I think, in the context of winning 3 in a row, gets you to appreciate the hard work that the assistant coaches and the families put in, and all the people who support, and especially the administrators who have to support you with this and make those decisions, because they can oftentimes say no if they have to regarding, can you get kids out to do this, can you get kids to do that, can you afford to do those kinds of things. And it sort of creates that whole team mentality in the context of the administration, that it becomes part of a program rather than just an individual kind of accomplishment. And I know that I really appreciate the support that the athletic administration and administrators gave us, and they've given it to us even in the years when we haven't won 3 in a row, and that's what we really appreciate.
Well, congratulations and continued success to you. That's James Prahlow, your Metro Legends Award winner. Welcome to the St. Louis Sports Hall.
Thank you so much. And one of my students works in the